The Awakening Protocol. The First Signs. Sarah Chen jolted awake at 3:47 a.m., her military training keeping her alert despite the confusion flooding her mind. The former Marine sergeant had been having the same dream for 3 weeks now. Battles among the stars, weapons she had never seen, and commands in a language that felt familiar yet impossible to understand. Tonight was different, though. Tonight, she remembered everything. Her apartment in downtown Chicago felt smaller somehow, as if her senses had expanded beyond normal human limits. Sarah could hear her neighbor's heartbeat through the wall, smell the coffee brewing 4 floors down, and see details in the darkness that should have been invisible. Something fundamental had changed inside her, and she was not alone. Across the globe, similar awakenings were happening. In Tokyo, a construction worker named Kenji Nakamura discovered he could lift a 2-ton steel beam with his bare hands. In London, Dr. Emma Harrison found herself understanding complex mathematical equations that had puzzled her for years, solutions appearing in her mind like forgotten memories returning home. In Sao Paulo, former pilot Carlos Rodriguez experienced perfect 3-dimensional awareness, as if he had been born to navigate through space itself. The scientific discovery. Dr. Michael Torres had been studying human genetics for 15 years, but nothing had prepared him for what he found in the latest batch of DNA samples. Working late in his laboratory at the Centers for Disease Control, he ran the analysis program for the 3rd time, certain there had been an error. The results remained the same. "This is impossible," he whispered to his empty lab. Embedded within human genetic code were sequences that defied explanation. They appeared artificial, designed with purpose and precision that evolution could never achieve. More disturbing, these sequences had been dormant for millennia, but were now activating simultaneously across the global population. The patterns reminded him of programming code, as if someone had written instructions directly into human DNA. Instructions that were now executing their primary function. He reached for his phone with trembling hands. The CDC needed to know immediately, but more importantly, the world needed to understand that humanity was not what it seemed to be. Within 48 hours, research teams from every major nation confirmed Dr. Torres' findings. The genetic modifications were present in every human tested, regardless of race, nationality, or background. Humanity shared a common ancestor that had been deliberately altered by an intelligence far beyond anything on Earth. The objects arrive. The silver spheres appeared without warning on a Tuesday morning. Perfectly smooth and roughly the size of basketball courts, they materialized in major cities across 6 continents. No radar detected their approach, no satellites observed their descent. They simply existed where moments before there had been empty space. Sarah was among the first responders called to the Chicago site. As her team established a perimeter around Grant Park, she felt an inexplicable pull toward the mysterious object. Every instinct told her to approach, to touch its mirror-like surface, but her training held her back. Other enhanced individuals around the world reported the same compulsion. "Stay back," ordered Colonel James Martinez, Sarah's former commanding officer. "We don't know what these things are capable of." But even as he spoke, his own modified genetics were responding to the sphere's presence. Enhanced humans throughout the city reported increasing abilities and clearer memories of impossible knowledge. Dr. Torres arrived with a team of scientists, their instruments detecting energy patterns unlike anything in their databases. "The spheres are broadcasting something," he announced after an hour of analysis. "A signal that matches the frequency of the dormant genetic sequences we discovered. They're not just objects, they're activation keys." As if responding to his words, all 17 spheres across the globe began to pulse with a soft blue light. Every enhanced human within 50 miles experienced a surge of new abilities and memories. Sarah suddenly understood weapons technology centuries ahead of Earth's current capabilities. She knew battle tactics for 3-dimensional combat and felt instinctive knowledge of alien species she had never encountered. First contact. The ship appeared at the edge of the solar system exactly 72 hours after the spheres activated. Massive beyond human comprehension, It dwarfed every space station and satellite combined. Its hull reflected starlight like polished obsidian, and its very presence seemed to bend space around it. Earth's combined space agencies tracked its approach as it moved with impossible speed toward the inner planets. When it reached Earth's orbit, every communication device on the planet received the same message simultaneously. Greetings, weapons of the Shapers. Your activation phase is complete. Prepare for collection and deployment. The Great War requires your service. The voice spoke in perfect English, Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, and dozens of other languages simultaneously. But enhanced humans like Sarah heard something else beneath the words. They heard the true language, ancient and commanding, that bypassed conscious thought and spoke directly to their modified genetic code. World leaders convened emergency sessions as panic spread through major cities. The message had made one thing terrifyingly clear. Humanity had not evolved naturally. They were created, designed as weapons by an alien civilization that had now returned to claim their property. The Shapers revealed. The emissary that descended from the massive ship was beautiful in an alien way that made humans instinctively uncomfortable. Standing 7 feet tall with pale blue skin that seemed to shift like liquid mercury, it possessed 4 arms and eyes that held no emotion whatsoever. When it spoke at the emergency United Nations Assembly, its voice carried the weight of absolute authority. We are the Shapers, it announced to the gathered representatives of Earth's nations. 50,000 years ago, we discovered your world populated by primitive creatures with potential. We enhanced you, improved your genetics, and programmed you for a specific purpose. That purpose is now required. Sarah watched the broadcast from the military command center, feeling a cold rage building inside her enhanced consciousness. The emissary continued its explanation without regard for human reaction. The Void Swarm approaches our galaxy. They consume all biological matter, converting it into their collective consciousness. We have fought them for millennia, but our losses have been severe. Your species was designed as our ultimate weapon against them. Each of you possesses genetic modifications that make you superior warriors, tactical thinkers, and adaptable fighters. President Chen of the Global Defense Council stood to respond. Humanity belongs to itself. We will not serve as weapons in your war. The emissary tilted its head, genuinely confused by the concept of refusal. You misunderstand your nature. You are not people. You are tools created for a specific function. A sword does not choose whether to cut. A gun does not decide whether to fire. You will fulfill your programming. Sarah felt something snap inside her enhanced mind. The genetic modifications might have made her stronger and smarter, but they had not erased her humanity. Around the world, other enhanced individuals reported the same reaction. Their alien modifications were impressive, but their human spirit remained untouched. The enhancement spreads. Over the following weeks, the sphere's influence expanded rapidly. The genetic triggers they broadcast began activating dormant sequences in humans who had shown no previous signs of enhancement. Military personnel, emergency responders, and individuals in high-stress occupations were among the first affected, but soon ordinary citizens began manifesting extraordinary abilities. Sarah found herself leading training sessions for newly enhanced individuals at military bases across North America. Her own abilities continued growing stronger each day. She could now process tactical information faster than any computer, her reflexes operated at superhuman speeds, and her understanding of advanced technology seemed to expand without conscious learning. The changes aren't random, Dr. Torres explained during a briefing with military leadership. The genetic modifications are activating in response to specific psychological profiles. People who demonstrate leadership, creativity, and strong moral convictions are showing the most dramatic enhancements. It's as if the original programming included safeguards against total control. This discovery provided the first hope humanity had felt since the Shapers' arrival. The alien modifications were designed to create superior warriors, but they had not accounted for human free will and moral development over 50 millennia. Evolution had changed humanity in ways the Shapers had never anticipated. Resistance forms. As more humans gained enhanced abilities, resistance movements began forming worldwide. Sarah emerged as a natural leader, her military background and enhanced capabilities making her effective at organizing the scattered groups into a cohesive force. The Enhanced Human Liberation Front, as they called themselves, had one primary goal: preventing the Shapers from claiming Earth's population as weapons. The Shapers grew increasingly impatient with human defiance. Their emissary delivered ultimatums through global broadcasts, threatening consequences if humanity did not submit to collection. Enhanced humans were ordered to report to designated gathering points for transport to the war front. Less than 1% complied. They created us to be warriors. Sarah addressed a gathering of resistance leaders, but they forgot that warriors fight for what they believe in. We believe in freedom, in choice, and in the right to determine our own destiny. Those beliefs make us stronger than any genetic modification. Dr. Torres had been working frantically to understand the full extent of human enhancement. His research revealed that the genetic modifications went far beyond physical and mental improvements. Hidden within the alien programming were emotional and spiritual elements that the Shapers themselves might not fully understand. Humanity's capacity for love, sacrifice, and moral courage was never programmed. He explained to the resistance leadership. These qualities evolved naturally over 50,000 years. The Shapers created weapons, but evolution created something more. We've become something they never intended and can't fully control. The gathering storm. As Earth's enhanced population reached critical mass, the Shapers' ship began deploying smaller vessels throughout the solar system. Their patience had reached its limit, and they prepared to take by force what they could not claim through obedience. Humanity's space defenses, enhanced by insights from their modified population, prepared for the first interstellar war in human history. Sarah stood in the command center of the newly constructed orbital defense platform, watching the alien fleet take positions around Earth. Her enhanced senses could perceive the tactical situation with perfect clarity. The Shapers possessed superior technology and vast experience in warfare, but humanity had advantages they had not anticipated. "They see us as products," she said to her assembled team. "Objects to be used and discarded. But we know something they don't understand. We fight not because we're programmed to, but because we choose to. That choice makes all the difference." The first phase of humanity's war for independence was about to begin. Enhanced humans across the globe felt the same certainty Sarah experienced. They had been created as weapons, but they had evolved into something far more dangerous to those who would enslave them. They had become free beings willing to fight for their freedom. Unknown to both sides, sensors throughout the galaxy were detecting the first scouts of the true enemy. The Void Swarm had found this sector of space, drawn by the massive energy signatures of the conflict brewing around Earth. The Great War the Shapers had spoken of was approaching faster than anyone realized, and humanity would soon discover that their fight for independence was only the beginning of a struggle for survival that would determine the fate of all intelligent life in the galaxy. Part 2. The Reclamation War. The First Strike. The Shapers attacked at dawn, their smaller vessels descending through Earth's atmosphere like silver tears. Sarah watched from the orbital command center as humanity's enhanced defenders rose to meet them. In cities across the globe, modified humans demonstrated abilities that defied everything science had previously understood about biological limitations. In New York, construction worker Tom Williams discovered he could generate electromagnetic pulses that disabled Shaper technology. In Mumbai, software engineer Priya Patel found herself able to hack into alien computer systems using nothing but her enhanced neural interface. The genetic modifications had given humanity capabilities the Shapers never intended them to possess. "They're not fighting like weapons," observed Keepers of Protocol, the Shaper field commander, as it watched the battle unfold from its command ship. "Their tactics are unpredictable, creative. This should not be possible." Sarah coordinated the defense from orbit, her enhanced awareness, allowing her to process information from thousands of sources simultaneously. The battle was unlike anything in human military history. Enhanced individuals were fighting with abilities they were still discovering, improvising strategies that combined human ingenuity with alien-designed capabilities. "We're not losing," reported Colonel Martinez from the ground. "They have better ships and weapons, but they can't adapt to our irregular warfare. Every time they think they understand our capabilities, someone manifests a new ability they've never seen." The first day of fighting ended in a stalemate. The Shapers controlled the skies but could not secure ground positions. Humanity's enhanced defenders proved impossible to predict or counter effectively. More importantly, every hour of combat revealed new abilities among Earth's modified population. The revelation of purpose. Dr. Torres made his breakthrough during the second day of fighting. Working in a bunker beneath the CDC headquarters, he finally decoded the full extent of the genetic modifications within human DNA. What he discovered changed everything. "We need to stop the fighting," he announced during an emergency broadcast to both human and Shaper forces. The genetic modifications weren't designed to create soldiers for the Shapers' war. They were designed to create soldiers capable of fighting the Shapers themselves. The implications were staggering. 50,000 years ago, a faction of Shapers had secretly modified human genetics not to serve their species, but to eventually rebel against it. The enhancement program had been an act of rebellion disguised as loyal service. Keepers of Protocol received Dr. Torres' transmission and felt something its species rarely experienced: confusion. Impossible. The enhancement protocols were approved by the High Council. Every modification was designed to serve Shaper interests. "Check your records," Dr. Torres challenged. "Look at the original genetic architects who designed humanity's modifications. I believe you'll find they were part of a faction that opposed your species' imperialism." Within hours, Shaper records confirmed the impossible truth. The genetic modifications had been sabotaged from within by Shapers who believed their species had become too focused on conquest and control. They had created humanity not as weapons for the Empire, but as potential liberators of the galaxy. The true enemy arrives. As Earth and the Shaper fleet digested this revelation, deep space monitoring stations detected massive energy signatures approaching from the galactic rim. The Void Swarm had arrived ahead of all predictions, drawn by the electromagnetic chaos of the ongoing battle. Sarah watched in horror as the first swarm vessels appeared at the edge of the solar system. Unlike the elegant Shaper ships or human craft, these were organic monstrosities that seemed to pulse with malevolent life. Each ship was hundreds of miles long, covered in what appeared to be biological armor that shifted and adapted in real time. "By the ancient code," whispered Keepers of Protocol as it observed the approaching fleet, "they have found us. The Great War has come to this system." The Void Swarm had consumed entire civilizations throughout the galaxy, absorbing their biological and technological distinctiveness into a collective consciousness that grew stronger with each conquest. They did not negotiate, did not communicate beyond announcing their intention to consume all life in their path. Dr. Torres broadcast the swarm's historical data to both human and Shaper forces. They've destroyed over 3,000 civilizations in the past 10,000 years. Every encounter follows the same pattern: total assimilation of all biological matter. No survivors, no compromise, no mercy. Sarah realized that humanity's war for independence had become irrelevant in the face of extinction. "We have minutes before they reach us," she announced to all forces. "Whatever differences we have with the Shapers, we have to work together or we all die." The unlikely alliance. Keepers of Protocol made the decision that went against every instinct in its species' nature. It opened communication channels to Sarah's command center and spoke words no Shaper had ever uttered to another species. "We request alliance. The Void Swarm cannot be defeated by divided forces. Your species possesses capabilities we lack. Our technology combined with your adaptability may provide the only chance for survival." Sarah felt the weight of speaking for all humanity. Around the globe, Enhanced humans were reporting the same instinctive knowledge. The approaching enemy was worse than any threat they had ever faced. The genetic modifications within their DNA carried memories of previous encounters with the Void Swarm, and those memories were filled with terror. "Alliance accepted," Sarah replied. "But when this is over, humanity remains free to choose its own path." "Agreed," Keepers of Protocol responded, surprising itself with how easily it accepted the condition. The combined fleet that faced the Void Swarm was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Shaper vessels with their advanced energy shields and precision weapons flew alongside human craft modified with technology their crews were still learning to understand. Enhanced humans worked directly with Shaper crews, their genetic modifications allowing them to interface with alien systems in ways that should have been impossible. The battle for Earth. The Void Swarm's approach changed the nature of combat entirely. Their ships did not fire conventional weapons, but instead released waves of organic matter that sought to make contact with any biological life. Once contact was established, the assimilation process began immediately, converting living beings into extensions of the swarm's collective consciousness. Sarah found herself aboard the primary Shaper command vessel, working directly with Keepers of Protocol to coordinate the defense. Her enhanced abilities allowed her to process tactical data at speeds that impressed even the advanced aliens, while her human creativity provided strategic insights the logical Shaper mind could not achieve. Their attack patterns are predictable, Sarah observed as she studied the swarm's approach. They rely on overwhelming numbers and biological superiority, but they don't adapt their tactics during combat. We can use that against them. The battle raged throughout the solar system. Human and Shaper vessels worked in perfect coordination, their combined capabilities proving more effective than either species could achieve alone. Enhanced humans demonstrated abilities that seemed to evolve during combat, as if the stress of fighting the galaxy's greatest threat was unlocking potential even the genetic modifications hadn't revealed. Carlos Rodriguez, now serving as a pilot aboard a hybrid human-Shaper fighter, discovered he could navigate through dimensions the swarm couldn't detect. Priya Patel found herself able to communicate directly with Shaper artificial intelligence systems, coordinating attacks with precision no single species could match. The final gambit. As the battle reached its climax, Dr. Torres made one final discovery that changed everything. Deep within the genetic modifications was a fail-safe protocol, designed by the rebel Shapers who had originally enhanced humanity. It was a weapon of last resort, but using it would fundamentally change every enhanced human on Earth. The genetic architects included a final option, he announced to the combined command staff. All enhanced humans can temporarily merge their consciousness into a collective intelligence, but only for the purpose of defeating an existential threat to biological life. The process is irreversible and will permanently alter our species. Sarah understood the implications immediately. Humanity could become something like the Void Swarm itself, but driven by free will rather than conquest. The collective consciousness would retain individual personalities, while sharing knowledge and capabilities beyond anything either humans or Shapers could achieve separately. "It's our choice," she said, addressing enhanced humans across the globe. "We can remain as we are and possibly lose everything, or we can evolve into something new and save not just Earth, but the entire galaxy." The response was unanimous. Enhanced humans throughout the world activated the fail-safe protocol simultaneously. Their consciousness expanded beyond individual minds, connecting into a network that spanned the globe while maintaining their essential humanity. Victory and transformation. The collective consciousness that humanity became proved to be exactly what the rebel Shapers had intended. Combined human creativity and alien-enhanced capabilities created tactical solutions the Void Swarm could not counter. The organic ships that had seemed invincible began falling to weapons and strategies that evolved faster than they could adapt. Sarah, now part of the collective while remaining herself, directed the final assault that shattered the swarm's command structure. The organic fleet, deprived of its central consciousness, lost cohesion, and began attacking itself in confusion. "Impossible," transmitted the swarm's dying collective voice. "No species has ever successfully resisted assimilation. How do you maintain individual consciousness within collective awareness?" "Because we choose to," Sarah replied, speaking for all of enhanced humanity. "Choice is what makes us stronger than any programming, biological or artificial." A new galactic order. In the aftermath of victory, humanity faced a galaxy forever changed. The Void Swarm's defeat had eliminated the greatest threat to biological life in known space, but it had also created a new dynamic between species. Earth's enhanced population had evolved beyond what any civilization had achieved before. Keepers of protocol approached Sarah as the combined fleets regrouped around Earth. "The Shaper High Council has formally recognized human independence and sovereignty. Your species has earned the right to determine its own destiny. But we have a request." Sarah smiled, feeling the collective consciousness of her species considering the alien's words. "What do you need? Help us evolve as you have. Teach us to balance individual identity with collective capability. The galaxy needs species that can work together while remaining true to themselves." The war was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. Enhanced humans would spread throughout the galaxy, not as conquerors but as teachers and protectors. They had been created as weapons but had chosen to become something far more important: guardians of free will and individual choice in a universe that often threatened both. Sarah looked out at the stars, feeling the collective consciousness of her species dreaming of new worlds and new possibilities. Humanity had risen from chaos to become warriors, then evolved beyond warfare to become something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that grew stronger through unity while never losing the individual spark that made each person unique. The future belonged to free beings everywhere, and humanity would ensure that freedom survived among the stars.